Providing a one-time cleanup service or an initial cleanup service for a new customer could either be an awesome experience or completely wreck your day if you have not priced that service correctly. And for those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Erica Crouppen, and I am the owner of Crouppen's Poop and Scoopin' and a content creator over here on the Scoop Start channel, making content for the Poop Scoop Millionaire community over on School and here on YouTube. Now, I've been in business for almost 7 years, and I have experienced some things. I have provided one-time cleans and initial cleans for customers, and things have went very well. And then other times I have had to ask for more money mid-service. I've done it. I'll tell you about it later. But I don't want you to have to do that. So in this video, we're going to talk about different pricing structures. I want to tell you, if you are new to the industry and you're not really too sure what a one-time clean is or an initial clean is, I want to clear this up. So stay tuned. I first want to talk about a new customer. You get a new customer that reaches out to you and they want you to provide service. You don't know anything about this customer's property, and a lot of times when the customers are reaching out to you, we're not going out to their property to do an on-site assessment, okay? Our ticket prices are a little bit lower, we're higher volume. So we are pricing them off of a pricing matrix that we have put together. Now, if you're new, you're like, I have no idea how to price. I totally get that, been there, done that, and I've experienced some things. And the cool thing is, with the Poop Scoop Millionaire community, William and Levi, they have built a very large business, and they've been able to do all the data and all the smart people stuff, like behind the scenes, to figure out the best way to do pricing. Does everybody do it this way? No. There's not one size fits all. Each market is different. So that's the reason why I want to kind of give you different variations and different things to think about for your business and different ways to price. So you get this new customer, they give you their address, they tell you how many dogs they have, they tell you how long it's been since the last cleaning. Here's a couple things, okay? Time frames. People just, it's out of sight, out of mind. Time goes by so quickly, you don't realize, like at the time of this recording, we're already in April. What do you mean we're already in April? I just had Christmas with my family, okay? So when somebody tells you, oh, it's been a couple weeks or maybe a couple months, but they're not thinking, we're in April. They haven't scooped their dog poop since before the snow. So we're talking October. So we're saying end of October, November, December, January, February, March, we're coming in April. So we're going on 6 months worth of dog poop, okay? Some people don't really know the size of their yard. They might think they have a small yard, but in comparison, because they live on a corner lot compared to their other neighbors, and their other neighbors have extra large yards, but theirs is a medium. So all these factors need to be taken into consideration. So what I do is I actually pull them up on Google. I measure their property from Google. And if I can't get a good visual, I ask them to send me a photo. This way I can kind of see, are we dealing with a small yard, a medium-sized yard, a large yard? Now, having said that, you get into this yard. The customer said it's been a couple months, they got a couple dogs. You don't know the condition of this yard. Do they have a ton of leaves? Do they have a bunch of debris? Is it a dirty backyard? You're not really too sure. So when they're telling you, oh, it's just a small little area, it's only been a couple months, I've had this, and I've been in the backyard scooping a small little area for over an hour, right? And they only wanted me to charge them $35, $50. And I've done that before, and I've made that mistake, and I don't want you to make that mistake. Here's the different options I have seen. You have your flat rate pricing model, you have your per bucket pricing model, and then you have your timed pricing model. Myself and Swoop Scoop, we do flat rate pricing. This has worked overall, this has worked quite well because we have taken the data throughout the years and figured out what our average time is for a small yard in this certain area. I know if I go to this one city, which I'm not going to call the city out, I know they traditionally don't take care of their yards. So they're more than likely it's going to be a very messy yard. There's going to be lots of leaves, and I'm going to have to rake that entire yard. So even though it's a small property, I know that I'm still going to have to price that property for no less than an hour. And what's my target man-hour rate? I want to make at least $1 a minute with my business. So at bare minimum, I'm going to charge $60. But because these cleans are rough, they take more time, I'm not doing a one-time clean or a spring clean for any less than $90. That's just my rate. There are exceptions. There are some times where I do adjust the rate, but we're basing it off of this flat rate. My pricing is going to be different than your pricing, okay? So mine here is no less than $90 at this point. And why do I think this is the best option? There's two reasons. One, because the customer knows what they're paying. There's no surprises, right? There's no like, oh, by the way, I was in your yard for 2.5 hours, so now your bill is gonna be $250. And they're like, what? I wasn't expecting to pay that. People do, this has happened before. I ask other people that charge this way, and I'm like, do customers get mad? They're like, yeah, sometimes. But it's like, what if they're watching you, seeing how long it takes? I just don't want that pressure, right? And so that's why I say the flat rate model, you win some, you lose some. When you're in business for quite some time, you learn your market, you learn how long it takes for you to scoop a yard. Even if I have to rake an entire backyard, a small yard that's 1/8 of an acre or less, I know that I can do that in an hour. I know I can take care of that in an hour. Even a scooper that's maybe not as fast as me, because I'm not the fastest scooper in all the land, it can still be done in about an hour. And I like it because now I know exactly how much money that truck is going to be producing. I know if they have, say if I'm charging, let's say my spring cleans this year started at 120 bucks, I flat rated them. That seemed to work pretty well. I knew that if I had 6 spring cleans scheduled for that technician and they were $120 a piece, I knew exactly how much revenue. It wasn't like, oh, we'll see how much revenue they're gonna be producing today. I knew exactly what it was. Also with this, there's gonna be different variations. Like if somebody hasn't cleaned their yard in 5 or 6 months, that's gonna be a very large major clean. If they haven't cleaned it in like 2 to 3 months, I consider that to be a seasonal clean. If somebody hasn't cleaned it in like a month or two, or it's been a couple weeks, that's a lighter clean, that's smaller. So you can have different prices for each price point. It's going to take you time to learn the customers, to learn the areas, and you kind of get like this spidey sense about you. At least that's what I did. And you just kind of like figure it out. I don't know the mathematics behind it. I'm not really too sure how to explain that, but with time, you'll be able to figure out where your pricing needs to be for your operation. Then you have your time-based. I know a lot of scoopers that actually do this. So they'll do something along the lines of like $50 for the first 30 minutes. And then every minute afterwards, it's $1 per minute. So at least you know you're gonna make 50 bucks for the first half an hour. If any cleans take longer than that, then it's going to be $1 per minute. That's cool because you're getting paid for your time, but what if you're a fast scooper? Or what if you have somebody that's a slow scooper and then you need to take a break or something and then the homeowner's watching you? I'm just playing devil's advocate over here. But what I like about the $50 for the first half an hour is you can incorporate this with your flat pricing as well. So if it's a smaller clean, like under 2 months worth of waste, you could price at 50 bucks because for the most part, if it's under 2 months worth of dog poop, as long as it's not a really big backyard, then you should be able to scoop that in a half an hour. And so 50 bucks for a half an hour, that's good money. Oh, I don't think I mentioned this, but you're also gonna wanna take into consideration the size of yard. So if it's 1/8 of an acre, if it's 1/4, if it's 1/2, it's 1 acre, that also you're gonna have to take into consideration because the larger the yard, the more area that poop can be built up. There was a time I was in a backyard, I didn't realize what I was scooping. And this property was really big. I ended up spending like 4 hours there. And I think by hour like 2, I was like sweating. We had so many bags. I think we pulled well over 40 bags out of this. Me and my husband were both sweating. The guy eventually, like he came out, his wife gave us a sandwich and some chips and some waters because we were like, we were struggling. But I looked dead in his eyes and I said, I underpriced you significantly. And we've been here for 2.5 hours. And in order to continue scooping, I'm gonna have to request more money, and just stared at him. And he was like, well, how much? And I like looked at him, I looked at all the bags, I looked at how much property was left. I said, I need at least another $100. I felt this small for asking it. And he was like, looking at how much we already pulled out, he was like, how much more you got to go? I said, I still have this whole back area behind the fire pit. And he was like, all right, I can do that. I said, thank you very much. That sucked. That was a lesson learned. And that's when I started measuring the properties from Google Earth to find out what size the property was. Option number 3 is going to be your per bucket method, depending on what kind of bucket you use, okay? But this is a pain in the butt when a yard has a lot of leaves, it's full of leaves, or if you have those really small dogs where it takes you an hour to scoop the dog poop and it only fills 1 bucket. So if you're charging $45 for that first bucket, it takes you an hour, you're only charging them $45. That sucks. But it's very similar to the per minute. At least you're getting the money. If it's a larger dog, a larger scoop, you're getting that money per bucket. I wanna say what I've heard from the per bucket method is it's like 40 or 45 for the first bucket, and then every bucket after is either $20 or $25. I believe that is the pricing structure I have heard others do. Now I want to talk about snowy states, because I live here in Michigan, and Poop Scoop, they're based out of Washington. They also get snow, but they don't get as much snow as we do. So what ends up happening is during the winter time, people aren't out there scooping their poop. I think they have good intentions, but then it starts snowing, it's cold, they don't want to go out there. So the spring melts and we get this thing called spring rush over here. And this is crazy. This is like the craziest time for us. And this is where a business can make a lot of money very, very quickly. But we have to make sure that we're pricing properly because we're probably scooping about 5 months worth of waste. And they're tough, really tough cleans. And so you want to price higher for these cleans because you know they're going to be more labor intensive. Like I talked about earlier, I flat rated my pricing starting at $120 for that clean. Now they went up depending, that was for 1 to 4 dogs. The reason why I did this is because we were getting such high volume of leads that I couldn't take the time to be like, how many dogs you have? Ask all these questions. Between 1 and 4 dogs, standard size yard, 1/8 of an acre or less, it was $120. If it was a medium size yard, then the price went up to $150. If it was a large yard, it went up to like $170 or $180. If it was an extra large yard, we're going in the 200s, 300s, just depending. But I was also been able to collect the data too because I have been servicing for the past 7 years. A lot of these customers are coming back, so I can log into my CRM and see that it took this one scooper, because I had this one scooper that was like a scooper and a half, and she was like very quick and very efficient. And if it took her an hour, I knew it was gonna take somebody else probably an hour and a half, so I was pricing for that. That's what's cool about collecting the data from the previous years. It's difficult when you're just getting started, but once you're collecting that data, you can kind of look back on that for old customers to be able to adjust and tweak your prices. So what's my final thought? I think you need to do what's best for your business. I will always say that. You do what's the best for your business. And if at any given time, you decide that this is not working for you and you want to switch it up, try another method, because that's the thing that's cool about being a business for yourself is you get to try different things because it's your business, right? But I will suggest finding what works and sticking to it. I personally like the flat rate method because there's no surprises on the customer's end, because I just don't want to deal with the customers and then them being like, I'm not paying that, and we go back and forth and they got a bad taste in their mouth. I have been burned because I have priced not correctly, but I've been able to make the adjustments moving forward to price better. You win some, you lose some. When you're doing it per time, if you have a faster scooper, it's gonna be less. If you have a slower scooper, it's gonna be more, so there's really no consistency with that. And the per bucket method, I personally don't like that because we have so many trees here in Michigan and these yards are just full of leaves. And it would just, I would be charging my customers $700-800 for these cleans, and in my area they ain't gonna pay that. There's no way they're gonna pay that because we're pulling so many leaves out of these backyards. So let me know what your thoughts are. If you are new in business, which pricing method do you want to try? If you're an OG and you've been doing this for quite some time, let me know what your preferred method is and what you have tried in the past and like why you stopped doing it. I'm very curious because this is something that's super interesting to me because what's cool about it is we all live in different areas. We're all different business owners. We have different mindsets. And so we're able to do things differently. And I've seen successful businesses do it every way. There's no wrong or right way. It's just whatever is right for you and your business. And if you want to know how to clean a yard fast, go ahead and check out this next video so you can learn how to clean a yard fast and set yourself up for success moving forward.